Let's bring in our panel to discuss the road to 2024. Pleased to have Red Renaissance PAC President, Maryland's 2nd District Congressional candidate, Klacik, with us, and also political analyst Mark Halperin. Guys, pleasure to have you.
Thanks for having us.
Good to be here.
All right, before we get to Maryland, what the vibe may be there today, let's just play a little bit of Susan Rice, President Obama's national security advisor, really saying that, well, you know, Harris and Biden, they're together, they're a team. These are her comments.
I think it's very important to remember that this has been the Biden-Harris agenda. Kamala Harris has been an integral architect and executor of the policies of the Biden-Harris administration.
Is that helpful, Mark? Isn't that what Harris is trying to avoid, is being tied into the border, tied into the policies like inflation and crime?
Not helpful, off message, not clear why she did it. But this is, I think, maybe the most extreme example of why being the Harlem Globetrotters playing the Washington Generals is protecting Vice President Harris. That soundbite and the general proposition of saying, take credit for what you want, but distance from where you want, is not something a normal candidate can get away with. But she's probably going to get away with it. And the Susan Rice soundbite will be buried most places because the press has made its choice about who it wants to win.
Yes, well, it might end up in a campaign ad. We'll see. It was very fascinating to watch that. Now, we'll watch Harris and Biden today in Maryland, your home state there, Kimberly. They're going to lay out what she calls a plan to stop price gouging by grocery stores. They're trying to say it's the supermarkets that are actually hurting the American people, not economic policies, not ignoring signs of inflation, pumping more money into the economy. Here's a little bit of Trump yesterday talking about this.
Is anything less expensive under Kamala Harris and Crooked Joe? I mean, we had inflation that I don't believe we've ever had inflation like that. You can go back a long way. Are you better off now with Harris and Biden than you were with a person named President Donald J. Trump? Do you know him?
All right, so they're speaking today at 1:30 in Largo, Maryland. Kimberly, this is a message that's creative, and I'm being generous there to blame it on the grocery stores.
No, absolutely. And you know what, President Trump, I love the fact that he keeps pushing this message. Were you better off under Biden or under himself? Because it kind of reminds me of the message he had in 2016. What do you have to lose? And I think he should keep pushing that. I think Harris at this point has to try to blame the grocery stores, because if she doesn't, then she has to stand on the fact that the Bidenomics, everything that they've been pushing up until this point, is the reason that inflation is the way that it is. And she doesn't want to be caught red-handed. And I have to ask, like many people have been asking for so long, if she can do anything about grocery prices or any of the inflation, why hasn't she done it? Right? She's been in office for 4 years.
These are all great questions. She's not taking questions, though. We had ESPN's Stephen Smith calls Kamala a friend, but even he is calling her out. I'm going to give you each a chance, 20 seconds on the flip side of this soundbite, to react. First to Mark. Let's play it here.
I'm talking to my sister here. Come on now. You running for the presidency of the United States of America. You got my vote. You running for the presidency of the United States of America. What you hiding for? And I mean,
a little louder, even Jim Acosta yesterday pressing a spokesperson. Mark, is she going to do a sit-down or a news conference anytime soon?
Well, it's very similar to what we saw when Joe Biden's acuity loss was so pronounced that some people who were allies felt compelled to speak out. That's what we're seeing now. I still predict she'll do her first interview with either the cast of The West Wing or Jen Psaki, but sure, she'll eventually do an interview.
And you heard it here. Okay, 20 seconds is what I have left. Kimberly, what do you think? Stephen Smith there calling her out. His sister, he says.
Look, I'm glad that he laid that out there, and he's absolutely correct. The thing is here, though, Kamala Harris and the entire administration, they're trying to figure out what voters want. And so they're not going to stand 10 toes down. So they're still trying to wait to see where the wind is blowing. That's why she's not coming forward.
Elon Musk has invited her to do a Spaces. So Kamala, Elon's ready for you. And I think the world would be too. Thank you so much, Kimberly Klacik, Mark Halperin. Pleasure to have both of you with us today.